Hi Scorpio, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your December 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, sort of what we have in front of us, the Celtic crossbreed as always, and I also put an oracle card and a Mudra card for you guys. And we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have Scorpio. That's you guys. Focus on yourselves. At the time I'm recording this, there's still quite a bit of energy in Scorpio, so in that regard it makes sense. But yeah, even Mars is still going to be in your sign for more or less the first half of December. So you'll definitely be experiencing at least some of that energy in December. Speaking of Mars, we have Mars here as well. And like I said, first half of December, it's going to be in your sign, and then it'll move into Sagittarius, your second house. All right, and okay, we have 6. So the 6th house, for you guys, that's actually Aries energy. Nothing really going on there, astrologically speaking, but could just be saying that there'll be a focus on your work, health, daily routines. All right, so moving on to the main spread. We have the Ace of Pentacles. So this could definitely be a new opportunity in something tangible. So it could definitely be a financial thing, but just something that would have some stability to it in general. I always point out with this deck, the way that hand is coming out of the clouds make me think that this is more of an idea as opposed to action being taken. And of course, the neutrality of the background too, right? The gray background. That's another indicator to me that says, hey, there's an option, right? The opportunity might be there, but it'll still require action on your part to move it forward. Otherwise, it might just account to nothing. But let me see what else comes to mind with this. And of course, as I was mentioning, we're going to have Mars move into your second house of finances. There's also going to be a new moon in your second house, and that's going to be an eclipse as well. So there could definitely be some new opportunities around finances for you this month. All right, and the challenge or obstacle position, we have the King of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy here, which for you guys is your 4th house of home and family. But more than anything, I'm viewing this kind of like a person. So let's just say this is some kind of an idea you have around finances. I feel like this could represent someone who might be resistant to that idea. So a super generic example, let's say it's in the workplace, right? You're like, hey, I have a good idea of how we could cut costs, right? Improve productivity. And this person might stand in the way of that, like, no, we don't really like that idea. You know, they might just be a bit dismissive toward you with the situation. For some of you, this could even be family members or someone in your immediate household anyway, given that this is 4th house energy for you. But yeah, looks like there would be some resistance to whatever this idea you might have. All right, in the foundation position, we have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. So this is Virgo energy here, and to me it represents a lack of working towards something. Now, given that for you guys, Virgo energy is your 11th house, and Aquarius is the natural ruler of the 11th house, this could even just be a friend group in general, or just some kind of group you associate with, where you might introduce this idea to them, and you might find this weird level of resistance from them that you weren't necessarily expecting. And as I'm saying that, that brings me back to the fact that the title for your reading for last month was Ruffled Feathers, and I think I was mentioning how you guys just might have been so energized with all of the stuff in your sign that you might have just been moving at a different speed from others. So this could just be a continuation of that in that regard, where, you know, you just might be firing on all cylinders and other people might be a little bit more reluctant to jump into things at this time. All right, in the past position, we have the 2 of Wands. So, well, we did see that 6th house energy come up for you guys in the dice, and this is 6th house energy for you. Yeah, could just be saying that you really had that initiative, right? You took the initiative, you're ready to move, you're ready to expand, ready to grow, and start some new things. So it looks like you might have launched that in the past. In the present, we have the Knight of Swords. So this is Gemini energy here, and more than anything, this represents a desire to get things started, I feel like, in your case, where, like I said, it seems like you're just moving at a different speed from others, right? If we look at the Knight energy versus the King energy, they look a lot more action-oriented. And Mercury will move into your third house communication, which is Capricorn, in December as well, but you're going to have a Venus retrograde there too. So, perfect example of how those energies can mix, right? So, you have Mercury in your third house communication, you're ready to go, you have all these ideas, but with the Venus retrograde there, something about the presentation might just rub people the wrong way, so that could be what the difficulty is in getting your point across at this time. Especially, Venus can be related to finances as well, so it would basically be a perfect storm in that regard. All right, in the near future position, we have the Ace of Swords, the Devil, Capricorn energy, Eight of Swords, more Gemini energy there, and Knight of Pentacles, more Virgo energy. So we're starting to see some repeat energies here, but really the way that this is striking me, given what we were just talking about, I feel like the Ace of Swords is going to represent that bit of an epiphany moment for you guys where you might actually look at that, what I was saying about the communication, and realize, hey, maybe I am coming on a bit too strong, right, with the way I'm communicating these ideas. But then there could be a bit of a over adjustment, right, with the Eight of Swords, to where like, okay, I see maybe there's a problem with the way people are receiving the way I'm communicating right now, right? But then you might go a little bit overboard and say, okay, well, now I'm kind of stuck, right? I don't know what to do next. But with the Knight of Pentacles, I do see that this is going to be you guys actually turning the energy into something far more practical, right? That you could bring forward and then find more support in that regard. So, I mean, if we just look at the contrast of these two energies, right, and if you have someone who might already have their doubts, what are they going to be more likely to respond to in a positive way, right? This energy moving here kind of erratically, or this energy that at the very least seems a lot less threatening, right? They're coming forward, moving slow. The horse is moving very slow compared to that horse. So it could just be where you come to the realization, like, okay, it's not so much what I'm presenting, but maybe more the presentation style that might be causing the blockage in this case, right? Not even that you're wrong in any way, but again, it could just be a bit of an insight as to whatever audience you're dealing with, where you might say, okay, I might need to try a different approach here. So that's what I'm seeing. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Hanged Man. So yeah, this is similar to what I was pointing out there, where, like I said, I feel like something's going to click for you guys, where you're going to try to look at things from a different perspective, and then that seems to be what's going to turn those gears for you to where you realize, okay, I come to that realization, I get it now. Now, this usually for me is Pisces energy, and that makes me think of the fact that Neptune will start direct motion around the 2nd of December, so it could even just point to that, right, where maybe if there was a little bit of a fog around how you might have been coming across to others, because 5th house, as much as we talk about 10th house being how you're perceived, 5th house is also one of those energies too, especially in your inner circle too. So if this is around family, for example, for sure, this might be one of those things where I go, okay, I see it now, right, and you're able to adjust from there. In the environment position, we have the Chariot. So this is the major arcana card for Cancer, and I see this message as like a twofold thing. On the one hand, like I said, it could just be, given that Cancer energy for you guys is your 9th house, it could just be that moment where something clicks for you, where you see things from a different perspective. You're like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? And that leads to forward movement. But the other side of that I also see is that whenever you do adjust your presentation, this represents that any resistance that you might add the first time around looks like it would be alleviated, and now these people, whoever they are, we mentioned a few different scenarios there, looks like they would be ready to move forward as well. So definitely a positive turnaround there. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the 9 of Wands. So Sagittarius energy here, and definitely looks like someone who's been through some battles, right? And is almost expecting the next one to come any minute now, too. So that could be, and maybe even that for some of you might realize that that might have been a way you were contributing to it, right? Where maybe you've been kind of on guard, maybe even subconsciously, right? Where if you've just been, for example, someone who's been accustomed to not being received well, that can make you overcompensate, right? Like, okay, I'm going to come across even more loud, even more brash with the way I present things, right? To make sure I'm heard, right? Could just be as simple as that. And now you're realizing, oh, okay, so maybe my bit of guardedness from past experiences I've had has actually led to others being guarded around me. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. Um, because if you think about it, it wasn't too long ago you guys had Saturn moving through your third house communication. So you might have felt really restricted around communication during that transit too. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing there, where it looks like there's a bit of guardedness. And I feel like for this to come up in the hopes or fears position, I feel like this is more of you guys hoping to actually leave that behind, right? And being able to trust that, okay, you could be more open and received well. All right, in the outcome position, we have the Page of Pentacles. So, higher octave of the ace energy that we see there, I do always point out to people with this deck that it just always stands out that that pentacle looks like it's just out of his reach, right? It's not fully in his hands. But if nothing else, I would say that this looks like you're getting a lot closer to that goal, whatever that goal was, right? Like I said, with the Ace of Pentacles, looked like we had some resistance to that with the King of Swords and the challenge. Eight of Pentacles in reverse looked like if there was some kind of group that you were trying to work with on the situation, it looked like there wasn't really participation on their behalf. Now with the Page of Pentacles, looks like you're a lot closer to where you were at the start of the month, right? So, I mean, to be fair, like we said, the Venus retrograde is going to be happening in December, so you probably wouldn't expect to see all that forward momentum until early 2022 anyway, but at least it shows that there's a good course correction and you guys are going to be on the right path. All right, bottom of the deck, we have the Star card, so more Aquarius energy here. And usually I point out to people how this is the card that does come after the Tower. And usually to me, the Tower is that dissolution of ego, right? The course correction. And then we see that energy continued here where the Star is actually leading yourselves on the right path. So could this be one of those things where you might have felt a bit raw and vulnerable around whatever the situation was, but now it looks like you've learned the lesson there and you're actually able to move forward in a much more positive way. And you know, if we think about this as representing Aquarius energy just on the universal level, I always used to look at the artwork here and say to myself, well, why is she pouring water back into that, right? It looks like there's plenty of water there. Why is she pouring more? And it made me think of the fact that that represents that humanitarian energy that Aquarius can take on, right? Which is to say, if everyone just comes and takes and takes and takes, eventually there's going to be no water left, right? So it's the understanding that you also have to give back to. Not saying that I think you guys were like being selfish or anything, but just saying the more of an understanding of the give and take cycles around a certain situation. And this could also be around family too. So like I said, maybe this was just a situation that could have gone back to even your early childhood, for example, where maybe you felt like you weren't necessarily heard as a child, right? When you'd express an opinion, you might have felt like people were dismissive. So you might have carried that energy with you almost like an armor, right? Like, okay, now I'm going to make sure I'm heard. And in certain situations where you may not need that armor, could have just been backfiring on you in certain situations. So yeah, it looks like you're actually learning from that, if that's the case. Obviously, I don't think that's going to be the case for all of you, but that's kind of what I'm picking up on there. All right, moving on to your Oracle card, we have Chaos and Conflict. There's the artwork, and the number is 33. So yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing, this probably looks like the energy that you guys are moving out of, right? And like I said, it seems like there's going to be some moment for you guys in the future where it kind of clicks, and then you get that forward movement. So some of you, this could just be maybe residual energy from November, because like I mentioned, your reading there was about ruffled feathers. But we'll see. Let's just see what it says in the book. Okay, it says disarray, being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. The Oracle's message, opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere. But consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control. Yet every storm passes, and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. So yeah, in a way, I mean, that sounds similar to what I was saying, just put in a far more eloquent and short way. So hopefully that resonated with you guys. The relationship message says stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to prolong the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to higher ground? Soon the air will clear, and you will be in a much better place than before, for a storm will have passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before, if you use this time constructively. So pretty positive message there. I mean, as we were talking through this spread in general, I didn't get much of a romance vibe in it, but hopefully that resonates with you guys who were interested in that. In worst case, the love readings will be out probably within the next week. All right, the prosperity message says, circumstances appear to be chaotic, but everything that is happening now is in truth shaking things up so you can find a real path to your prosperity. Yes, it's a stormy time, and it feels as if there are opposing forces wherever you turn. Be reassured that there is divine purpose in this chaos. Everything that doesn't work is being taken from you, so the truest parts of yourself remain. The events occurring now are essential for your ultimate prosperity. This chaos is divinely inspired, even though it doesn't appear that way now. In time, you will know this to be true. So yeah, pretty positive message there as well. Again, kind of takes me back to what we'd already talked about, but hopefully that resonated. Did I just say talked about? And finally, we have a Mudra for you guys. So there's the Mudra there. It's the Samputa Mudra. The keyword for it is presence. All right, and there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot. Under benefits, it says balances all 5 elements, benefits the heart and lungs, reduces mental and emotional suffering, serves as a gateway to directly experiencing your own original nature. All right, so if that sounds like a Mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, I will put the name of it in the description of the video. As always, I can't talk anymore apparently, so good time to wrap this up, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.